Hi, it's Chessie from Squeegee Ink, and welcome back to Printer's Corner. Printer's Corner is where I answer the questions you've given me on social media, and I answer them in a little bit more depth. Don't forget to stick around to the end of the episode to see the answers from this week's community poll. And the main questions we're answering today are around whether you use baby powder on your screens, if you try different coating methods and different amounts of coating times on your screens, and whether it's worth getting self-tensioning screens. Our first question is from Kiss That Goat, and they said, you can also put baby powder, talc in French, on your screen to avoid sticky. This is a response to a video where I was probably talking about film positives sticking to the underside of your screen once you've exposed them. And this suggestion to put baby powder on the screen to stop it sticking. I'd probably say it's a little bit of a bodge or a hack. I'm not sure. Let me know in the comments whether you think that's a hack or a bodge. But if you're basically getting sticky film positives on your screens, that's always an indication that, well, it's two things. Either your emulsion hasn't dried or it's still got a lot of moisture in it, which is kind of the same thing. So you can bypass that by reducing the humidity in your exposure or your drying room right down to maybe like 40% ideally, or just as low as possible. And you should find that your film positives, if they're dry as well, they don't peel off and stick to your screens. But maybe everyone else is putting baby powder on them instead of adapting the humidity. So let me know your thoughts on that. Our second question is from Spyluxer, and they said, do you ever try 2x1 or 1x2 coating? The answer is yes. I've done lots of testing on how much I coat my screens. So when they say 2x1, it's probably 2 coats on the inside, 1 on the outside. And then they say 1x2, so it's the other way round. This kind of method of coating your screens multiple times is to be able to encapsulate the mesh with emulsion all the way through. So you're getting a really decent buildup of emulsion, and therefore your stencil's very robust when you come to printing. The more you coat your screens, the thicker the emulsion, the thicker the ink deposit's going to be on your garment. So where somebody has to coat their screen 3 times to achieve the thickness of emulsion, my emulsion is quite a high quality, high solids emulsion. And I find that just coating 1 on each side gives me the emulsion thickness that I need for the kind of prints that I do. So yes, I've tested it. But if I do 3 coats, it's really quite substantial and a little bit too thick for my needs. But definitely do your own testing with all those kind of variables. Our final question is from John Saber 949. They said, my corners are loose. I'm kind of pissed that I spent the money on that one. Shake my head. And who is buying a $400 tension meter? They are referring to the self-tensioning screens that you stretch yourself. And I've got a few videos on those that I can link in the description, or you can check out yourself. But he's kind of right that, yes, the corners are loose, but that's just the way it's designed, because the corners don't have to be high tension, because that's nothing to do with the print area of the screen. It's just the way the mesh goes on the screen. So if you're printing right into the corners, it probably means that you need to print on a much larger screen anyway. So you just never print in the corners, just up your size of your screen. They do look a little bit funny, but they shouldn't affect anything. So I don't really see why it's an issue. And the second part of the question was, who's spending money on a tension meter? You can go through quite a lot of your career not bothering about tensions. If you're constantly buying new screens and you're not doing multicolor work that needs close registering. But as soon as you're printing for customers or even yourself, and you're printing lots and lots of colors and you need to get those prints done effectively, and you don't want to mess around with time lining things up, then actually investing in a tension meter is a really good idea, because you would basically go around the screens that you're going to use for that job, quickly measure them, and it is very quick. It's literally minutes. You can gauge whether those screens have the similar tension, and you're just going to find they line up so much quicker on press. So I think the people who are investing in their tension meter are those that need to be efficient at that stage in their career. And we definitely found a lot of use for it, and so have the people who've got one. So I think it's one of those things that once you've got it, you can't live without it. I also looked it up, and the tension meter that you can get in the UK is about £319 plus VAT. And you can also use the CRP5 discount code to get even more money off one of those tension meters for your studio. To round up this week's main question, which is baby powder on my screens. There's never been baby powder on my screens. There never will. And hopefully you can mitigate having them on yours as well. Now it's time for this week's community poll.
Community poll.
The community poll is where I ask the community of screen printers on YouTube a multiple choice question about something that's happening in the industry or how they do things in their shop. And you can basically take part by going on the community tab of our YouTube channel, and you can answer the new questions, the old ones, and you can have discussions in the comments too. This week's question was, would you want to start your own t-shirt brand? And the options were already have one, when I get time, there is money in printing for others, there's more money in printing for others, and other answers in the comments. And people are kind of torn. It's very, very even at the moment, whether they already have one or they're trying to wait until a good time. And then there's the people who are saying that there's more money in printing for others. As somebody who has their own t-shirt brand and shop, and is quite a big part of my life now, I would say having one is really super beneficial, if not just for your mental health, being able to be your own customer, make your own decisions, and printing and selling your own shirts is like a real joy. And the profit margins per shirt are much greater if you have that infrastructure in place to actually sell them and you have a market for your designs. I would definitely encourage people to start it as a little sideline thing like we did, because you never know, it might grow into your main job and your main career and where you're spending all your time. There are a couple of little comments here as well. One of them was, I'm still in the beginning stages of building up the business and the designs. That's great. It's just a fun hobby for some people, but you'd be surprised at your knowledge that you've gained from even helping other printers with their brands and designs. So, your customers, you're definitely going to glean lots of little bits of tips and see what works for them. And you can bring that into your brand as well. And the other person said, I want to, but I'm struggling with finding a name. Do you have any tips? Well, not really. We basically just used this phrase that one of our family members used, which was blind a maggot when she found out something new. So instead of saying, well, I'll be damned, she said blind a maggot. That just kind of stuck, and it works, and it's quite fun. It's definitely a memorable one. So maybe something quite jarring that fits with your niche. I don't have many tips, but if you tell us what your brand is going to be about, maybe we can all come up with suggestions for you in the comments. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode, and don't forget to leave me more questions using hashtag Printers Corner in the comments of our videos, and I hope you have a really great week printing.